Welcome back, or welcome if you're new to my channel. Today I want to make a list and a little challenge for myself and talk about the 22 books I want to read in 2022. So let's start.
1, 2, 3, funk it!
The first book I want to read is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. That's this book. This book is about three people. It's about a painter, the friend of the painter, and the model of the painter. And the model of the painter is Dorian. And I'm not really sure how much of it is common knowledge and what would be a spoiler, so I'm not gonna say much to it because I don't want to spoil anyone, because I was spoiled and now I don't know what's a spoiler and what isn't, so I'm not gonna say more to that. Then the next book I want to read is The Lie She Never Told by Laura Lebes. And this book is about a girl who killed her best friend. And now we follow her when she goes back to her hometown 3 years later. So that's the second book I want to read. And also I don't think you can read that except in Germany or Austria or something like that, because I think it's only out on German. Then the next book. The next book I want to read is The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. I don't know how to pronounce that correctly. It's this book. And in that book we follow a girl. I'm not sure. Wait a minute. Yes, we follow a girl and her aunt, because on the college there are strange things happening and girls are going missing, and they want to figure out how or why, or if their teacher has something to do with it. Next we have another German book. It's this one. It's very pretty. It's called Der Heimweg by Sebastian Fitzek. In this book we follow a woman who calls a hotline that you can call when you're scared and alone, like to calm you down, or also to call the police or something if something is happening. And that's just where we follow the story. I don't know how to explain it better. And then the next book, number 4, no, actually number 5, is The Invisible Life of Eddie Larue. My version looks like that. Pretty ugly if you ask me, when you've seen the English version. In this book we follow Eddie, and she made a pact with the devil or something, and now she can live forever, but nobody remembers her. Except one day she's in New York in some kind of store and somebody remembers her. And from there we begin the story, I think. Then let's move on to number 6. The next book I want to read is actually a book I had to read for school, and I also have finished it already. And it is Love Virtually by Daniel Gladawa. And this book is a romance book, email romance, and we follow Leo and Emmy, how they build a connection and where it goes from there. And then also I wasn't happy with the ending, and I found out that there is a second book, and that's also the next book I'm gonna talk about. I don't have a physical copy of that because I didn't want to buy it, and I found an ebook that's for free. And the next book is, as I said, the second book, and it's called Every Seventh Wave by Daniel Bloodhour. and we follow the same two people as their story continues. And it's also a romance book that's in email format. Then let's move on to the 8th book. That book is The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelis again. There it is. And in this book we follow a woman and her psychiatrist, therapist, I'm not sure what exactly it is, but it's someone who just looks after her. And the woman got into psychiatric ward, I think that's how it's called, because she was found next to her dead husband, and everybody thinks that she killed him, but we are not quite sure if she did it or if she didn't do it. And we follow her and, as I said, the therapist. And we see their stories intertwine and how the story unravels, and we find out what really happened. This book I also already read, and I think it was okay. Yeah, it wasn't really good, it wasn't really bad, it just was okay. I gave it 3 stars. Let's move on to the next one. The next book I want to read is this one, Nocturnal by Wilde Poetry. You can see I already started it, but already some time ago, so maybe I need to restart it. But I really want to read more poetry books, and I can't really tell you what it is about because I also don't know. It's just a poetry collection, and also it's really pretty to look at, so I'm looking forward to reading it. Then the next book after that is The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephan Bosky. I'm not sure how to say that. And this book I would call a coming of age story maybe. I'm not sure how to explain it. I also haven't read it yet. Maybe you know it better than I do, but I can explain it. And also the book is pretty old. It's from 1999, the year I was born. And there's also a movie if you want to watch that. So let's move on to the next book. The next book I want to read is King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo. Here it is. There is the Shadow and Bone trilogy and the Six of Crows duology, and after that comes the King of Scars duology. And I just want to finish it all up. I already read the Shadow and Bone trilogy. I also am planning to make a video about that. And I also read the Six of Crows duology, and now I also want to read these ones so I can finish them. And maybe you were already able to tell that the next one on my list is the second part, Rule of Wolves. And I'm not going into detail what they are about because I don't want to spoil you, in case you want to read the other ones first. So I'm not gonna say anything about them, and we will just move on. The next one I want to read, I got for Christmas, and I already started it on Christmas. It is Freddy Mercury, A Legendary Voice by Ernesto Asante. Yes, by Ernesto Asante. And it's just about Freddie Mercury, their band, and how they come to be, how their story was, and everything. And I'm really enjoying it so far. But I didn't come far into it. I think I'm on page 37. Yeah, and so far I'm really enjoying it. But that's probably also because I'm a huge Queen fan. And my parents know that, so that's why they gifted it to me. After that, I want to read The Mother Code by Carol Stivers. And that is the first sci-fi book I have ever read, I think. Or I will ever read, because I haven't started yet. But it's about, like, there's a pandemic or like a gene, like an illness. I don't know what it's exactly it is, but it is in the future in 2049, and they have built roboter kids and roboter mothers. I can't really explain it, but it's very spaced up and sci-fi and all that stuff. And I'm not sure if I like it, but I'm gonna find out. Then, the next on my list, number 15, is One of Us is Lying. And actually, I already read that, but I want to reread it so I can read the second book. In this book we follow 4 students, or actually 5. They had to, how is it called? Like, you know, when you make stupid stuff in school and you have to stay longer? That's the case here. And while they have to do that, one of them dies. And now we follow every one of them to figure out which one of the other 4 killed him. That's what's this one about. And now let's move on to number 16 I want to read. And again, if you paid attention, you already know it. It's part 2. One of Us is next. I'm not really sure where that one is going. I just know it's the same people again. And they have another story to tell, as it seems. So I really want to read these 2. So this one again, and then this one, so I can follow and remember what the characters were and everything. And then we are at number 17. Another German book that I don't think there is on English. And it's this one, Der Blutkünstler by Chris Meyer. And this one is about psychiatrist or something like that again. And he's a profiler. We follow this profiler and a murderer. I don't know if we follow him, but he's part of the story. And the murderer makes pieces or artworks out of his victims. And there's this therapist, or not therapist, but psychiatrist, tries to figure out why he does it and how and stuff like that. And he finds out why he is the only one who can even figure it out. I don't think that was a very good explanation, but I can't do it better than that. Next up, number 18. We're going into the finale soon. So number 18 is The Shadows by Alex North. That's a horror book and I didn't realize it. I thought it was just a thriller. Maybe it is, I'm not sure. In this book we follow 2 characters, I think. One is the friend of the other, and the friend is someone who already killed someone and disappeared after, and now he's back in the hometown and strange things begin to happen. And that's where the story starts, I think. I'm really interested in it, but I'm also really scared of it. So let's move on to the next book. The next book also is from Alex North, and it's called The Whisper Man, and that's also scary. I think that's a horror again, or maybe a thriller, I'm really not sure. It's about whispering. It's about a small town, a missing boy, and a silent whisperer, and a game against time begins. Again, I can explain it better. And also, these 2 books already scare me and I haven't even started them. So I don't know if that's a good sign. And now we are on to our last 3 books. where 2 of them are part of a series. The first one is this one. It's called The Banishing Season by Johanna Hausen. We follow a police officer as she solves a case. I don't know what exactly is happening because I didn't start it yet, but my mother has read it and she's already asking me all the time when the next part is coming out, so I think it must be good, or at least for her. So I want to read them for myself, because I also bought them for myself, but my mother read them first. And then we have the second part, and it's called No Mercy by Johanna Schaffhausen. And there we follow the same police officer again, and she solves another case. So these are those 2. And then, last but not least, I want to read Two Can Keep a Secret by Karen McManus. And there we follow Larue, and she moves. And where she moves to, there have strange things happened already. And it seems like it's starting again. That's all I can say about it. So this wraps up all the books I want to read. I hope it was interesting for you, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next.